Hi, students. This is our first screencast lecture with the intent to not let us fall behind. I've decided to do a screencast, kind of like what you see on YouTube with other videos. We'll give this a try. You tell me what you think, and I'll decide if this is something that I'll continue to do or not do. Okay? So we'll do it for chapter 7. I already have the PowerPoint up here. I will pretty much start a slideshow. Start it from the beginning. And here we go. Chapter 7, Pain and Sleep. Drugs for pain and sleep. Not going to read the objectives. At this point you should have already gotten the slides emailed to you. Please look through the emails. I have to develop a system to where there's a place that you can either store the files, or I recommend that you create a folder within your Gmail account and that you save all incoming stuff to the folder. And maybe I'll make a screencast on how to do that so that you will become more proficient in doing so. So I'm not going to read the objectives. I am going to read the slides verbatim simply because I need to. My hope is that you will act as if this were class, have the PowerPoints already printed, and take notes just as if you were sitting in your class. Okay, so pain is an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with tissue damage. Pain is perceived with all the senses and is considered the fifth vital sign. Unrelieved or undertreated pain is common but avoidable in a healthcare setting. Actually, addressing pain is very necessary simply because pain response can increase anxiety and irritability in people who are already sick. It can also cause people not to want to take deep breaths because they're breathing so rapidly because they're in so much pain, and the effect of not deep breathing or fully expanding the lungs can cause them to either collapse. It could also cause the mucus in the lungs to kind of sit and fester and not move out by coughing, so you achieve the same effect. Such as with surgery. The same effect, meaning how when you get anesthesia, how everything's slowed and everything's sleepy and you're not coughing effectively, you're not breathing effectively. Pain has the same effect. And with those secretions festering in your lungs, it can sit and cause pneumonia. Okay. All right. Here we have pain assessment tools. I don't really see in the healthcare setting as much. You may come across this, but the most common one that we use is the 0 to 10 pain scale, which is number B. And if I haven't had the ability to tell the whole class, I did tell at least some of you, when you are approaching someone with the intent on assessing their pain, you do not say, "Hello, Mr. Johnny, are you in pain?" because they may say no when they really are. What you want to say is, "What level is your pain?" So almost you kind of got to assume they're in pain by asking them what level pain they're in, and explain to them, on the scale of 0 to 10, 0 being no pain, 10 being the worst possible pain or unbearable pain, what number is your pain, and let them tell you what number. You'll be surprised if you approach it this way. Wong Baker Face's pain rating scale. Of course, this is for children, but it is also for nonverbal adults. Or adults with mental handicaps that cannot effectively verbalize how they feel. This is pretty effective for them as well. All right. So pain Physiology and pathophysiology. We want to talk about the origin and the transmission. You can read that part in your book. Perception. In terms of perception, we're talking about the threshold and the tolerance. Now, the threshold is basically the starting point to which you feel pain, the starting point for which your body feels this stimulus and interpret it as being painful. That will be considered the threshold. Okay, and tolerance would be, or actually, it will refer to your ability to endure uh, pain intensity. So, oftentimes people say they have a high tolerance for pain, meaning they can endure an intensive amount of pain before it becomes to the level of being unbearable. All right. In the body, you have pain receptors. They're called nociceptors. All right, and that term nociptors is in your book. Nociceptors are pain receptors, and they are activated by substance P, P for pain. And basically, it works kind of like the same relationship between neurotransmitter and the receptor sites. We talked a lot about dopamine and how dopamine goes to a particular receptor and cause X effect. With nociceptors and substance P, it's the same type of relationship, that lock and key relationship. Okay? And pretty much, substance P communicates to the receptor or the nociceptor to say, hey, this stimuli is painful. And then it travels to the brain to let the brain know that it hurts. Okay? Substance P is a chemical mediator just like any other neurotransmitter. Alright? We have different types of pain: acute, chronic, and cancer. I'm going to leave you to your own devices to look that up. That will be in your book. I thought I wrote the page numbers down. Anyway, pain management will vary between the different types of pain. Acute pain could be, oh, you fell off a bike, you're in pain, you're going to take Tylenol or Motrin to get rid of that pain. Chronic pain would be something like arthritis, something that is chronic or long term. Cancer pain is pretty severe, very painful. It is very difficult to treat cancer pain. In fact, a lot of times you'll see, or maybe not, but what's more effective is to give them a combination of an opioid and an adjuvant drug. An adjuvant drug would be Motrin or Tylenol. Actually, the World Health Organization has a ladder, and maybe I'll look this up since I have this beautiful screencast. A ladder to determine how you treat pain based on its level of intensity. So let's see. Let's see if we can find who. World Health Organization. Doesn't look like it's it. Sorry, guys. Ooh, pain ladder. There we go. I don't want it just for cancer relief. I just want the general. Let's see what this says. This is an official National Institutes of Health. How about we do Google Images and you can see the ladder. This is what I want you to see. Here we go. Hopefully you can see it. So this is the World Health Organization's tier for how do we treat what level of pain. So here we have step one. You give a non-opioid, again, anything that is non-narcotic, and an adjuvant. So a non-narcotic would be, and we'll talk about this further on into the slides. Um, Sometimes we use antidepressants to treat pain, especially nerve pain, because it just dulls some of the receptors to be more receptive to narcotic pain medication or other forms of medication. So that would be another non opioid. An adjuvant would be a medicine used in addition to the non opioids, for example. And not just for non opioids, you can use adjuvants for opioids too. So, for example, I'm giving Pamelar, the antidepressant, and I'm giving Motrin to combat this patient's pain. And sometimes that 1-2 punch is more effective than just giving them a stronger narcotic. Hope you understand. Um, First letter, the pain is persisting or increasing. The second step would be opioid for mild to moderate pain, and typically they give you a number anywhere between 1 and 4. And you can do a non-opioid and adjuvant for that, and then opioid for moderate to severe pain, and that would be on a pain scale maybe from 5 to 10 or something like that, or 7 to 10. You can use a non-opioid and adjuvant. Um, Now, here are some examples for non-opioid and adjuvant: aspirin. Um, I assume this is some sort of antidepressant. Let's pretend that is, because I don't know what drug that is, or NSAID. And then step two would be codeine. Tylenol threes would be an example of an opioid and an adjuvant, because it's part Tylenol and part codeine. And Percocet is the same, opioid and adjuvant combination. You have oxycodone, 5 milligrams, but 325 milligrams of Tylenol in this one tablet. So it's a combination tablet. And then for severe pain, you want the heavy hitters like morphine, straight oxycodone, or fentanyl. All right. Um, Basically, this is telling you the pathway of pain. Um, you get hit in your foot with a hammer. That stimulus travels up to your brain to be interpreted for your brain to then travel back to the body part that was injured to either move out the way and yell ouch or whatever the response is. And it's so rapid and it's so fast that you're not mindful of all of that taking place. Now, anywhere in this pathway, if you have some sort of neurological damage, as in with people with spinal cord injuries, let's say if patient is damaged at T6, and T6 injury would be probably around, they'll be from the belly button down, they will be paralyzed. Um, if someone like that stub their toe, the impulse will travel, but it'll get stopped here because there's no connection to the brain. So there's other symptoms that the person would go into, and we'll get into that later, if there's some type of break in this communication line. Okay. Analgesic drug therapy. The term analgesic refers to drugs that control pain. Opioids or narcotics. Non-steroidals, you already know about those, and non-opioid miscellaneous drugs. Miscellaneous drugs. Um, Again, Tylenol would be a non-opioid miscellaneous drug. Motrin, it could be anything that's non-opioid. And controlled substances or drugs containing active ingredients. If you want to think about something that's non-narcotic but a controlled substance, Ritalin that we give kids and some adults for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. When administering analgesic drugs, you want to check before the pain intensity, blah blah blah, check after. And all I need to say about that is when you're giving anyone